Hello there, young Bible scholar. You're welcome to another interesting religious knowledge class. In this lesson today, we're looking at the topic Judges as leaders. Judges as leaders. Now, do you remember the last topic? Moses the liberator. We learned how Moses delivered God's people, the Israelites, from the hands of the Egyptians. And when God delivered them, God gave them laws. Now, God had promised the Israelites that when they were faithful and kept the laws he had given them, he would bless them. But the Israelites went against the laws of God. They sinned against God. They worshipped other gods. They murmured. They married from places where God told them not to marry from. They sinned against God, and God punished them by allowing their enemies to conquer them. When the Israelites sinned against God, what did God do? God punished them. He allowed their enemies to conquer them. When the Israelites repented from their sins, God saved them. How did God save them? Through judges. At the time, there were no kings in Israel. The judges led the people. God chose the judges to fight, lead the people into battle, and also settle quarrels amongst the people. So, the duties of the judges at the time were they fought, they led the people into battle, and they settled quarrels among the people. So the judges became messengers of God to the people. Who is a judge? Who is a judge? A judge is a person who decides questions brought before a court of justice. A judge is a person who decides questions brought before a court of justice. Judges help settle quarrels between people. The judge will listen to what each person has to say, and then he will decide who is right or wrong. Now, there were many judges in Israel. Israel had so many judges, and some of them are Othniel, Deborah, Samson, Eli, Samuel, Gideon, Abimelech, Tola, Jah, Jephthah, Zani, Elon, Abdon, amongst others. Now, today we're going to look at three of those judges. We're going to learn about three of those judges in this lesson. And the first one we'll be looking at is Deborah. Deborah as a judge and Barak. Who was Deborah? Deborah was a prophetess and a judge in Israel. She was called by God to be a prophetess and a judge in Israel. She was the wife of a man called Lapidot. She was leading Israel at the time under a palm tree. Deborah led the people of Israel. She judged the people of Israel under a palm tree. And at the time, there was a great commander of the Canaanites who was troubling the people of Israel. The great commander was troubling the people of Israel, and Deborah could see it. So one day she summoned Barak and ordered him to take 10,000 men with him to war. But Barak told her that he would only go if she went with them. So Deborah went with them, and the Lord gave them victory in that battle. Deborah went with Barak and the 10,000 men, and the Lord gave them victory. Now, the next judge of Israel we're looking at is Gideon. Gideon the judge. Gideon the judge. The Midianites terrorized the Israelites, and the Israelites cried to God for help. At the time of Gideon, it was the Midianites that were troubling Israel. Now Gideon was threshing wheat in a wine press at Ophrah when the angel of the Lord appeared to him. The angel said, "Mighty warrior, the Lord is with you." The Lord turned to Gideon and said to him, "You are strong. Go and save Israel from the power of Midian. I am sending you." So Gideon went with 300 men, and God gave them victory over the Midianites. How many men did Gideon take to war against the Midianites? 300 men, and God gave them victory. Now another judge we're looking at today is Samuel the judge. Samuel the judge. The Philistine rulers came to attack the Israelites. Now at the time of Samuel, it was the Philistines that were troubling the Israelites, and the Israelites were afraid. They said to Samuel, "Please, don't stop crying to the Lord our God to keep us. Keep praying that he saves us from the powerful hand of the Philistines." Then Samuel prayed to God, and the Lord helped Israel. Samuel prayed to God, God answered his prayer, and the Lord saved Israel. Now, in this our present time, in our communities, we have political leaders and religious leaders. Political leaders and religious leaders. Now, what are the roles of these political and religious leaders in our communities? Now, for political leaders, these leaders govern the country. Political leaders are leaders who govern the country. They make sure the country is ruled properly. They build schools. Political leaders build schools. They provide hospitals and jobs for its citizens. They construct roads. They construct good roads for the people. And they provide pipe-borne water. So generally, they take care of the people. Political leaders take care of the people in a country. How? They build schools, they provide hospitals and jobs for the citizens, they construct good roads, they provide pipe-borne water. Now, there are also religious leaders. Religious leaders. Now, who are religious leaders? These are pastors or priests. Religious leaders are pastors or priests. They lead people to follow and worship God. Religious leaders lead people to follow and worship God by teaching them to do the things that please God. They take care of their members. They celebrate marriages. They name new babies. They conduct burial services. They baptize new believers. Religious leaders lead people to follow and worship God. We have now come to the end of the class. Do well to attempt your quiz and your assignment. See you in the next class. Thanks for watching. Bye.